It's mind-boggling. You sit there for hours, watching middle-aged guys in Hawaiian shirts and big watches bid stupid money on muscle cars on the myriad cable channels that broadcast collector car auctions these days. Makes you wonder who can afford to put gas in these things, right? I mean, I love a good CUDA as much as the next guy, but come on. Crappy models that were being swapped for a few $100s a couple of decades ago are going for close to six figures now. And the good stuff is all over $100,000. The great stuff, that's in the millions. I'm talking Hemi CUDAs, Boss 429 Mustangs, ZL1 Camaros and the like. Don't get me wrong, these cars are amazing, but they're out of reach for most of us. So it's safe to say that you probably can't afford the classic muscle car of your dreams. Here's what we say: change your dreams, aim quirky, and expand your horizon beyond 1972. Here are a handful of solid, drivable, interesting cars that, more rather than less, qualify as muscle cars. More important, they're cars you might be able to afford. You probably won't even have to ask the kids to skip college. First up, we've got a car that might surprise you. The 1990 Ford Thunderbird Super Coupe. You might be thinking, a Thunderbird? Really? But trust me on this one. This ain't your grandpa's T-Bird. Don't let its subtle looks fool you. Under that hood lies a supercharged 3.8-liter V6 engine, pumping out 210 horsepower and 310 lb-ft of torque. It could sprint from 0 to 60 in 7.6 seconds and reach a top speed of 140 mph. This thing could move. Plus, it handled like it was on rails thanks to its sport-tuned suspension. It was a real sleeper, and it could embarrass a lot of so-called muscle cars back in the day. And the best part? You can find these for a steal. At $22,000, it's the most expensive car on our list, but still a bargain considering what you're getting. A true performance bargain, the Thunderbird Super Coupe is a future classic just waiting to be discovered. Now we're talking, the 1973 Pontiac GTO. This is the car that started it all, folks. The granddaddy of muscle cars. And you know what? It still holds up today. Sure, it might not have the raw power of some of its later counterparts, but it's got something they don't: soul. This car just oozes cool. Under the hood, you'll find a meaty V8 producing 250 horsepower and a tire-shredding 370 lb-ft of torque. It could hustle from 0 to 60 in 7.5 seconds and hit a top speed of 114 mph. But it's not just about the numbers with this car. It's about the feeling you get when you're behind the wheel. The rumble of that V8, the wind in your hair, the envious stares from everyone you pass. And the best part? At an average price of $20,000, owning this piece of history is cheaper than some fancy wristwatches. Next up, we have an American icon, the 1966 Ford Mustang. This car needs no introduction. It's been a symbol of freedom and cool for over 50 years, and it's still going strong today. The '66 Mustang is a personal favorite of mine. It's got that perfect blend of classic styling and raw power. And let's be honest, who doesn't love the sound of a throaty V8 engine? The top-of-the-line model for '66 came with a 4.7-liter V8 that kicked out a respectable 271 horsepower and 312 lb-ft of torque. It could gallop from 0 to 60 in 7.5 seconds and reach a top speed of 121 mph. But the Mustang is more than just a pretty face. It's a blast to drive too. It handles like a dream, and it's got plenty of power on tap when you need it. And the best part? You can own this icon for an average price of $21,400. Not bad for a piece of automotive history. Chapter 4, 1984. Buick Grand National. Now for a car that's near and dear to my heart. The 1984 Buick Grand National. This car is a true sleeper. It looks like a grandma's car, but under the hood, it's a beast. Back in the 80s, this thing was eating Corvettes for breakfast, and it still turns heads today. People are always surprised when they see how fast this car is. This bad boy packed a 3.8-liter turbocharged V6 engine, churning out 200 horsepower and 300 lb-ft of torque. It could rocket from 0 to 60 in 7.5 seconds and hit a top speed of 118 mph. But it's not just about the speed. The Grand National is also a comfortable and stylish cruiser. It's got all the bells and whistles you could want in a car, and it still looks great today. And the best part? At an average price of $19,000, the Grand National is a steal. Chapter 5, 1986, Chevrolet Camaro ICZ. The 1986 Chevrolet Camaro ICZ. This car is pure 80s awesomeness. It's got the looks, the power, and the attitude to spare. I remember when this car came out, it was all over MTV, and every kid in America wanted one, and for good reason. Under the hood, you'll find a 5.0-liter V8 producing 190 horsepower and 284 lb-ft of torque. It could dash from 0 to 60 in 7.4 seconds and top out at 130 mph. But it's not just about the numbers with this car. It's about the feeling you get when you're behind the wheel, the wind in your hair, the sound of that V8 roaring, the envious stares from everyone you pass. And the best part, at an average price of $19,000, the IROC Z is your ticket to reliving those days when MTV still played music videos. Chapter 6, 1974 AMC Javelin. Now for something a little different, the 1974 AMC Javelin. This car is a true underdog. It never got the same recognition as the Mustang or the Camaro, but it's every bit as cool. The Javelin has a unique style all its own. It's got those long, flowing lines and that aggressive front end. It's a real head-turner. The top-tier model packed a punch with its 6.6-liter V8, generating 235 horsepower and 345 lb-ft of torque. This powerhouse could sprint from 0 to 60 in 7.7 seconds and hit a top speed of 130 mph. But the Javelin is more than just a pretty face. It's also a blast to drive, it handles like a dream, and it's got plenty of power on tap when you need it. And the best part? You can snag one for around $18,000. That's a lot of car for the money. Looking for a car that's both stylish and practical? Well, look no further than the 1976 Chevrolet El Camino. This car is the best of both worlds. It's got the looks of a muscle car and the utility of a pickup truck. The El Camino is a true icon. It's been featured in countless movies and TV shows, and it's still a popular choice for collectors and enthusiasts today. The 76 model comes equipped with a respectable 5.7-liter V8, pumping out 165 horsepower and 270 pound-feet of torque. It might not win any drag races, but it's got plenty of power for everyday driving. And with its spacious bed, you can haul all your gear in style. Whether you're going to the beach or the hardware store, the El Camino has got you covered. And the best part? At an average price of $14,600, the El Camino offers a unique blend of muscle car cool and pickup practicality. Chapter 8, 1984 Chevrolet Corvette C4. Want to experience the thrill of owning a Corvette without breaking the bank? Then the 1984 Chevrolet Corvette C4 is the car for you. This car is a true performance bargain. It's got all the hallmarks of a classic Corvette: sleek styling, a powerful engine, and razor-sharp handling. The '84 Corvette marked a turning point for the iconic sports car. It was the first Corvette to feature a completely redesigned chassis, and it was also the first Corvette to be offered with a digital dashboard. Under the hood, you'll find a 5.7-liter V8 engine producing 205 horsepower and 290 pound-feet of torque. This power plant could launch the C4 from 0 to 60 miles per hour in 7.9 seconds and push it to a top speed of 143 miles per hour. But it's not just about straight-line speed. The Corvette C4 is also a capable handler, thanks to its sport-tuned suspension and responsive steering. And the best part? At an average price of $11,000, it's a relatively affordable way to join the Corvette Club. Chapter 9, 1986 Pontiac Firebird Trans Am. The 1986 Pontiac Firebird Trans Am. This car is a true child of the 80s. It's got the looks, the power, and the attitude to spare. This is the car that David Hasselhoff drove in the hit TV show Knight Rider, and it's still just as cool today as it was back then. This iconic ride packs a 5.0-liter V8 engine under its hood, churning out 190 horsepower and 240 pound-feet of torque. It can sprint from 0 to 60 miles per hour in 8.6 seconds and reach a top speed of 130 miles per hour. But the Trans Am is more than just a pretty face. It's also a blast to drive, thanks to its sport-tuned suspension and responsive steering. And the best part? At an average price of just $10,000, it's an affordable way to relive those glory days. Chapter 10, 1971 Ford Pinto. And finally, we come to the car that some people love to hate, the 1971 Ford Pinto. Now, I know what you're thinking. The Pinto? Seriously? Hear me out on this one. The Ford Pinto is possibly the most notorious classic American car due to its appalling safety record. But that's part of what makes it so interesting. Despite being a disaster, the Pinto represents the malaise era to a T. Back in the 70s, gas prices were skyrocketing, and American automakers were struggling to keep up with the demand for smaller, more fuel-efficient cars. The Pinto was Ford's answer to this challenge. It was small, it was affordable, and it got decent gas mileage. The problem was, it was also a death trap. Ford manufactured a whopping 3.5 million Pinto cars between 1971 and 1980, allowing prices for the classic car to remain at just $7,000 today. And there you have it, folks. A tour through some of the most iconic and affordable classic cars you can buy today. From muscle cars to sports cars to sleeper sedans, there's something out there for everyone. Whether you're looking to relive your glory days or just want to stand out from the crowd of cookie-cutter modern cars, there's something here for every taste and budget. Just remember to do your research, get a pre-purchase inspection, and be prepared to have some fun. Happy hunting, and may the force of nostalgia be with you.